Okay. Socrates decides to go shopping at the mall with his best friends Plato and Clarence Darrow. As Plato creeps along the background, tweeting Socrates' every word and incessantly praising his every action, the group stumbles upon Henry David Thoreau, who is avoiding being arrested for shoplifting. Socrates argues that if Thoreau would have simply paid his American Express Platinum payment, all would be well. Thoreau argues that the bank should not be able to take his property because he paid the value of the bracelet. However, the taxes are another entity. Darrow joins the dispute, attempting to see Thoreau's side. Sophocles joins the scene as the group passes Barnes and Nobles, engrossed in a novel named Antigone. Henry, that bracelet is so fetched. Too bad it's going to get taken away soon.
Taxes, taxes, taxes. It's all about the taxes in this place. Whatever happens to an equal trade, money for an item, not money for an item in some foolish government taxes.
Thoreau should have paid his taxes because he bought their product. He made an agreement to abide by their rules in order to get the benefits. He broke those rules, so the only honorable thing for him to do is accept his punishment.
So true, Socrates, so true. I'm tweeting that right now so we can always find it.
It's no different than when I ride the streetcar canal, Thoreau. I have to pay $5 for a ride that's only worth $2 just because the city council said it was just.
I partly accept the motto that government is best which governs me. They're going to have to fight me for what's mine.
Thoreau, you are no better than the government by expressing such extreme ideas. Your narrow-mindedness is causing you to create unnecessary chaos. Order to an extent is a positive thing, and taxes enable this order. However, I see that so much for you, to face such a pain is a pain that does not count.
Can't you see, Thoreau, that money was not yours? It was borrowed from American Express. You were only aware of all the penalties and fines added onto your purchases when you got the card. Does the law speak truly or does it not, Thoreau? Again, I think that whether with imprisonment or stripes, the punishment is to be endured in silence.
Stripes or silence, the S's will decide. That could be my next work based off of my idol. Fabulous.
See what the law is. When these men get control of things, they make the laws.
But the law is what makes the city great. Could we have Forever 21 and Victoria's Secret within walking distance if it were not for the great laws that allowed the malls to be built? And you, Thoreau, what about all the other things you bought with your Platinum card? I did not hear you complaining when you got that $85 dress at Urban Outfitters a week before you paid any.
The Socrates, I'm not disputing the bill, but just the taxes on the items bought. My principles will not allow me to pay the taxes on the bracelet. The government has no right to repo my stuff.
Thoreau, I wish we could use the defense that you were just too dumb to know the consequences, but you know paying taxes is how our society runs. It's like I just said, see what the law is. When these men get control of things, they make the laws. First and last, it's a question of money.
You cannot choose what is okay to buy and what isn't after the fact. The circumstances you're in do not change your actions. Are we to say that we are never intentionally to do wrong, or that in one way we ought and in another way we ought not to do wrong? Or is doing wrong always evil and dishonorable?
I agree with.
So real, Socrates. I'm making that my status update ASAP.
Plato, you do realize you have the ability to silently document his every word. You even did it for an entire story. Do you remember the Crino?
Oh, fine, Darrow. I'll just keep documenting the greatest wisdom in the world and keep quiet about it while you just banter on about how people aren't wrong just because they did wrong.
Gladly, Plato. As I was saying, I agree with you, Socrates. A person can't simply change their minds after considering and deciding. But as Plato so sweetly pointed out, I have to wonder if our dear Thoreau actually understood what course of action would be taken by the bank. Should we consider that maybe he just didn't know?
What I have to do is to see, at any rate, that I do not lend myself to which wrong I can do.
If he knew or did not know that his property would be repossessed is besides the point. He should have never broken his agreement to pay any and all fees connected with his card. His punishment is not only fair and just, but also it should be welcomed. Without this sort of action by American Express, their fees would be through the roof for all of us who do pay to make up for their lost profits.
I'll sound like Plato now, but you're right, Socrates. There is no such thing as an accident.
You just don't get it. The government does whatever it pleases. It can have no pure right over my person and property, but what I concede to it. I have done nothing dishonorable or evil.
How can you blame the government for your actions? You indeed have done something dishonorable. You broke your agreement, which has now forever tarnished your character. I myself would rather die than be known as dishonorable.
Thoreau, I would normally defend a case by saying that the only way to cure these conditions is by equality. But the taxes have already been made equal. A certain percentage of a person's purchase is always taxed, no matter who is buying. You just have to accept that either you're going to pay the taxes or you will go to jail.
I'm standing up for my beliefs. I love the bracelet and I have have the money for it. Then here comes the government with their foolish ideas to control society. I'm keeping the bracelet and I'm not going to jail. Their outfits are orange jumpsuits. Orange is not my color.
Do you not see that the laws are what make this a just city? We abide by these rules for a chance to reap the advantages of living here. And if you no longer agree to the terms of your agreement with American Express, then I think you should just stick to your Walmart and pay less from now on, because there is no way they're giving you any more credit.
Not here. For the future near and far and the past, this holds good. Without nothing very great comes to life of mortal man, without ruin to accompany it.
Really, Sophocles? Another copy of Antigone?
All of this nonsense has inspired me to read it one more time. I think it relates very well to the situation we've been going on about.
We just managed to flush Thoreau so much with the thought of jail that he ran off. You see, he hasn't paid his American Express bill, and now he's reached the point where imprisonment is the next step.
Imprisonment is not his concern, but he will soon realize that paying the tax is much better than life in prison. For what is destined for us, men mortal, there is no escape.
Agreed, Sophocles. I think that we should not fight against what is morally wrong. Let us follow this course, since this is the way the gods point out.
But surely, I hate indeed the one that is caught in evil and then makes that evil look like good.
Oh, don't worry, Sophocles. I'm pretty sure you won't be too hateful. Look at that.
Don't arrest me, please.
Plato has it right. There's nothing left to do but watch. Thoreau disobeyed his contract with the state, therefore he ought to serve his time for his disobedience.
None of you better bail me out. None of you. Don't get into their ways.
Oh, don't worry, Thoreau. We won't do a thing. Hopefully, Mommy will still be willing to bake you apple pies this time around.